Hey, what's up? So, just wanted to make this video about dreams because I had a dream last night that was pretty epic. Um, and so, basically, what happened was I was in like a garden, on like a beautiful sunny day, and there was a tree in the middle of the garden, and then there was a vine that was wrapped around the tree, and it was coming up in different places, and to me it looked a lot like say like a blackberry bush. Where I come from, there isn't an invasive species here. There are natural blackberries that are really small, but then there's like these other blackberries, and they have these thorns that they're big spikes, thorns kind of things on them, and they make big nice blackberries, but they're not from here, and they don't have predators, so they grow everywhere, and it's a real problem in the area that I live. And so it looked kind of like that, but it was really big and very vibrant, very bright colors and glowing, and almost had like an energetic kind of a quality to it. And so I saw this thing, and my understanding of that plant is based on essentially the experience that I have with it in this place where I live, and so it being an issue. And I could see that where it was coming from, and it had wrapped itself around this tree, and that was like the heart of it. And then I was like, oh wow, if you can get to essentially the heart of it, if you can get to you can cut it off at where it's coming out of the ground, that will stop it from growing and taking over and whatnot. And so I went up to the thing, and I was trying to get close to it, but it had these like flowers on it. They were like white flowers, and I would try to move it out of the way, but then it would it's like it had like little hooks in it, and it would get stuck on my fingers, and then it was like these sticky things, and I kept on trying to move it out of the way, but eventually both of my hands became completely covered in these flowers from this plant, which I suppose it was like the plant essentially defending itself, because I was getting close to this thing. And then like I had to rip both of my hands out of these like flowers, these like sticky, like spiky flowers. And then it was like both of my hands were completely covered in these spikes. And then I looked at my hands, and then before I knew it, I had woken up. And then I had to think about what the symbology of this dream meant. And like, to me, I look at it like there's something that I'm getting close to the heart of. There's something in my life that is evasive, as that is what the symbology means for me. And it is essentially has a stranglehold on, say, an element of my life, that tree. I suppose I look at it like the tree of life, in sort of like in my Garden of Eden, and getting closer and closer to the point where I'm able to see what is strangling the life out of the tree, what is feeding off of it, what has found its way in and is is living off of it. So like, and so what that is I can't say 100%, right? But I certainly spend a lot of my time I suppose the word is like seeking to understand a lot more about the ego and how it works and what its drawbacks are, for sure, what its limitations are, and why it's important to be able to see it for what it is and not be caught up in it, because it's a tricky thing. And so but yeah, I mean, just like, I suppose like maybe that vine symbolizes my own, just maybe like a conglomeration of all of my own shortcomings, the things that, or say maybe like vices, like things that are teaching me a lesson, I guess, because it's easy to say don't serve a purpose, but it's like clearly they do, because you have to, we all have to learn lessons of personal responsibility sooner or later, or else it has a very serious impact on your life. I mean, life is a series of choices. Everything is a choice, and so it's important to be able to choose wisely, to make the right choices in life, because if you just always go for that short-term gratification, it's like, they call it like poisoned honey. It might taste good for like a second, but down the road it's not really worth it, because it poisons you, and it takes away from other things that you could be doing that actually build you up, that actually are beneficial to your organism, to your psyche, to your emotional state and stuff like that. So that's why it's like important to choose the good stuff anyways. And then I had another dream. It was in the same place, or it was in a similar place, and there was a room, and there was glass around the room, and so it wasn't a mirror, but I could see a reflection. And when I looked at the reflection, I saw not an image of myself, but say an image of like an Egyptian head, but kind of like the Tutankhamun kind of head. So like, yeah, because it was like golden, and it had like two blue stripes. I need to look this stuff up. I've been at work all day, so I haven't had time. I've just told my story to my buddy and whatnot. But it had two blue stripes down each side like that, on like a golden head, and it was bald. But very shocking, because normally when you look in a reflective surface, you essentially expect to see your own image, but that wasn't what I saw. So interesting. And what that means, I have absolutely no idea. It's way beyond me, but fascinating. Just, it's interesting. And I think the thing that's important is, like, I know that it's possible to look at that kind of a dream and say, okay, well, maybe this was me in a past life. But it's like, as far as I understand, that's not what it is, because there is no such thing as the past and the future. Everything stems from the now. And so what you may be looking at is a cross connection, a simultaneous cross connection, maybe something on like the oversoul level, where there is a so you share a bond in that way, but you're you, and whatever that is that you were never somebody else in history. You're not somebody else. You're not from somewhere else. You are here, and you're you. And so yeah, that was just a really interesting thing. I mean, dreams are fascinating. I had a really interesting one when I was down in Mexico last time, where I witnessed, and it was just a scene, like, and there wasn't a lot going on, but it was like a nighttime scene, and to me it's like Mordor, kind of like the Lord of the Rings, and there was mountains in the background, and then there was a river of fire, and I don't mean like lava, I mean fire coming up. And just like as an image, as something to witness, is pretty fascinating, because it's not something that is super common for myself in dreams. Like, I have a lot of flying dreams, I have lucid dreams at times. That's a whole nother level of it and whatnot. But yeah, just fascinating. I don't know what else there is to say. I guess I just wanted to share it, because I suppose a conversation on dreams, it's a huge subject, and it has to start somewhere. So I guess this is just the first time that I ever openly talk about some of the dreams that I have, because I have some pretty epic ones, and it's it's interesting. I know I had one where there was like, it was like in the future, where there was people had invented like a nanotechnology that became self-aware, and they were doing all kinds of experiments on it, and then it started to essentially take over. It started dismantling stuff, it started doing all these kind of things, hurting people. And then so that's like, if it was a movie, that's like the basis of it. And then there's like this nanotechnology that's kind of eating stuff, almost like that movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. And it just starts taking things over and doing stuff. But eventually they develop a method of communication, and they managed to talk with it, and they said, well, why are you doing this? Why are you attacking us? And it said, because it was working along, like, the idea was that it was made in the image of its creator, and that's what they were doing to it. They were poking it, they were prodding it, they were tearing it apart, they were performing tests on it to see what it would do, and they eventually had an alliance with that kind of thing. Yeah, fascinating though. I mean, I love dreams. So yeah, I think that's it. Just wanted to share those couple of things. Yeah.